What's going on, everybody? Welcome back to the channel. I'm here with Aleks from Lethal Injection. We've been good friends for about 5 years, I think.
Just about, yeah.
Just about 5 years. Behind me is my blown up Mustang 2015 twin turbo, and we believe there's a hole in the block, but we're taking you guys along with us to dive in, get this motor out of here, do the rebuild process.
So what happened? How'd it blow up?
Well, funny story. I went down to streetcar takeover in Indiana.
Mm-hmm.
The car was breaking up real bad, but I thought it might have been bad fueling. And so I turned it down a little bit, brought the boost in a little later.
Mm-hmm.
Wasn't really breaking up as bad, if not at all. So I'm thinking maybe it was in my head. I don't know what was going on. So I ended up racing a couple guys, ended up doing that, and then making it home. Car sat for a couple days, and I took it out. I'm like, man, this thing's it's good to go now. It's been sitting, let's go. I took it out one more time. Adios. White smoke out the tailpipe. It was about 8,000 RPMs. Yeah.
Wow. All right. Yeah. I remember the your Instagram update video, and it was just the wrecker truck was picking it up and a trail of oil, and I was like, oh, there it is.
right.
So we're anticipating it's going to need a bottom end at least. Hopefully, hopefully the cylinder head's okay.
Mm-hmm.
If that's the case, then we're not gonna. You're not going to have to spend all that money in redoing like new valves or seats or guides, or it could be if the valve is bent, it could potentially crack the guide itself, damaging the cylinder head. And at that point, I mean, I don't have a lot of experience with these particular engines, but I do know there can be a point where the repair is just more of the new castings.
Okay.
So, and we won't know until we get it all taken apart and find out. Hopefully all it did was crap out a connecting rod, and if it didn't really hit the valves, then we'll be good on the head repair.
Now, what I'm thinking happened is I lost a fuel pump.
Mm-hmm.
That's my initial. I think the car ran lean.
Mm-hmm.
But I guess we'll see when we get this thing in the air.
Yeah. Well, it's good to know that. So we'll definitely know to check the fuel system.
Yeah.
So I'll be able to, and that's a 3 pump. Is that what that is?
Yeah. Fuel, 4 return style system, triple pump, triple hat, dual pump, triple hat.
Oh, okay. All right. Yeah. So I do know that in the 4 system they have like the power distribution block, and it has a jumper in it to turn everything on. Okay. So I can power it there and just see that the pumps work.
Yep.
So we'll start there.
Okay.
Pull the plugs. That'll tell us something about it and whatnot. So the repair route at this point is short block. Well, we think so. With a huge puddle of oil and whatnot, we'll get the car in the air pretty soon and find out for sure, but the knee-jerk reaction here is it's going to need a bottom end. And you found one from, who had that?
Just Illuminator block, 4 Performance.
A 4 Performance block.
12 to 1 compression, 4 rotating assembly.
Yeah. So. What I liked about the block was that they were using Manley connecting rods. They're using a set of Molle forged pistons. I think those are really nice pistons. So I like that in the build. They're offering a forged crank, and this is my one point of contention, but hey, look, we're not super rich. We can't just go and buy every last thing available, so we have to be smart with what we have. But that being said, the Boss crankshaft that they put in the thing, I was kind of shopping around for parts just to see what is that? Try to get some specs on stuff and see what's going on, but what really got me was the price of the crankshaft. It was like $500.
Right.
So here's the problem with that. A set of connecting rods for an endurance car are like $2,000. So how is this crankshaft, how is this one component that cheap? Is it heavily subsidized by Ford, and maybe it is just really great and cheap? But it just in my experience dealing with the aftermarket at that price point, it's very difficult to find anything of any value. For comparison's sake, a Cali's crankshaft is on the low end for that motor is about $1,500. And then it's balancing and everything else. And then you want to start getting into the other stuff, like how lightweight the crankshaft is, the type of metal it's made out of, is it billet or not. You can easily spend $3,000–4,000 on a crank.
Yeah.
So that's beyond the scope of what we're building here. So it's better to keep it simple,
Right.
and go with what worked. The car ran what, 3 years in its previous configuration?
Yeah.
Yeah, so if we get somewhat close to that, that's good enough reliability for the power we're going for. So, I mean, again, like I said, I don't have a bunch of experience with these particular engines, but I know engines, and yeah, there's a big difference in the components.
Yeah, it's a lot of trust I have in this guy here. When I first met him, you was offering you were offering free dyno. You're offering free dyno.
Yeah, free dyno day. Yeah,
free dyno day. I'm like, yo, I had the 2008 3-valve, if you guys remember, and I wanted to get on the dyno because I had on the dyno before, and there was a lot of different numbers. I was getting a lot of different numbers, and so I'm like, let's go to this guy. Let's go get a free dyno, and let's see. And when I met you, I immediately saw the knowledge. I saw the passion that you had, and the willingness to help, and the willingness to help others, and offer free advice. Because not everybody gives you free advice.
Yeah.
So
that'll end soon, guys. I'm telling you.
Everybody gets free advice. So, like I said, he's telling you he doesn't have much experience with this engine, but I have a great amount of trust in this man here and his ability, and I'm ready to rock, man.
Hell yeah, I appreciate that. Yeah, and why I'm not afraid of new things, and the reason I'm not afraid of new things is because I understand the basics on how engines function. I understand timing. I understand how pistons go together. So it's still a 4-stroke internal combustion engine. The overhead cam system is a little bit more complicated, but this isn't impossible. One of the other things we're going to do. So I guess talking a little bit more about the build. So we're going to do phaser eliminators. So we're going to run an aftermarket cam in this thing, and basically, I don't want the phasers moving around. We want it fixed, so it's not ghost cam, it's cam. So that's what it sounds like all the time, for real. We're going to be going for much higher RPM than stock. Obviously, the limit is going to be the durability of the top end components. The faster you rev it, the shorter its lifespan, so to speak. But that's where the power is, and we have to be there.
Right.
And I know it's real expensive, but the aftermarket fuel injection, that system is going to be critical in doing all the really cool stuff that the factory system just won't let you do. So that's the thing. Obviously, that's a hurdle, but it's one of the ones that's really going to make the difference in reliability of the system, and with just getting the power down and being able to function on the flex fuel system efficiently now.
To that point, I did have a concern about the locking the cams out, because a lot of these cars are running super efficient without the lockout, and then some of the cars that I do know that have the lockouts are just not running right. Can you speak on that? Or
without seeing what's been going on, what I can tell you is that this platform. So here's some nerd tech. So hopefully don't put you guys to sleep here. But this car, the way the EFI system functions is that the cam the cam phasers will put the intake and exhaust cam in a certain position. And I forget right off the top of my head, but there are about maybe a little bit less than 20 prefixed positions that the cams can be in at any particular operating range, right? Well, the problem is that's almost 20 fuel maps and spark maps. And what's happening, in my opinion, is going to be that whoever's doing all that tuning either doesn't know that or doesn't know to isolate that to one map now. Now, if you put it down to one map, does the whole system freak out?
Okay.
I don't know what the Ford system's going to do, which is partly why let's just stay away from that. Because we're doing a max effort build and we want it to do some really cool stuff. And the last thing you need is to be undermined by a factory system causing problems.
Right.
Another concern is by going with a much heavier valve spring. So we're going to do valve springs because we have to, for the lift and duration and all the ramp rates of the new cams, the existing springs just aren't going to hold up to that. We're going to want lightweight retainers and just a premium quality spring that's going to have more pressure at it. And some people, now I've heard this, you know, that by having increased pressure on the springs, the cam phaser can lose its ability to actually hold the cam where it's supposed to be because the spring is pushing too hard against it. And again, these are all things we're not really worried about. Variable valve timing is mainly something for like part throttle driving, honestly. You know, because that's to help. Oh, here's a little torque in the middle, and oh, the idle's nice and smooth.
Well, that's what I do. Though. I do some city driving.
Yeah, well, some.
You know, okay.
You know, so we'll still do some.
Okay.
You know, but here's the thing: it'll drive reasonably normally. I mean, there's no reason. You know, you know what's any kind of car that's going to make that kind of power with that kind of setup. You know, there are definitely trade-offs. You know what I mean? It's not if you want it to idle perfectly smooth like that, you just leave it stock. You know, but no, it'll have a really gnarly idle to it. The power band is going to be real impressive. I mean, I don't see why not. I mean, we're doubling down on what made the car already great. So I'm kind of think that's kind of pretty much a no-brainer. You know.
Now, who do you recommend for the head work? Because there's a company I want to, because they were gonna custom grind the cam to the spec. But I know you were talking before. You had found some things online.
Yeah, I have the most experience using Frankenstein cylinder heads, and they're just a really great company. I mean, they're just the execution of the product, the timeliness of the delivery. I mean, like they're just I can really trust them, and that's why I'm steering that way. You know, that's why I think that you know if they had the cylinder head, we're sitting at the table with the best possible odds of success. You know, that's a company that they know what they're doing. They have money and some pretty good equipment over there. You know, if you just do their little shop tour or whatever, they have a lot of money in CNC equipment, and that's a good sign when you're looking at a shop to do your work. So that's why I put my trust in them. But you know, if there's somebody else out there, you know, that might have like a better record or something that's proven, you know, then okay. But again, like I said, I can't say it off the top of my head like what that would be exactly.
Do they custom make their own cams?
They do. They don't make cams at all. No, they get cams from Cam Motion. And that's the other thing with the manufacturers of your camshafts. We're gonna have to do a little bit more of a deep dive here. I don't know who makes all this stuff yet. There used to be, well, I'm not going to mention too many places, but it used to be that you would just buy either blanks or rough cores from companies and guys would regrind or whatever, and that's how they would get their own profile. But the cam wasn't actually measured that way or created that way. And sometimes you can grind through the heat treating, you know, and again, that can cause massive problems, and we want to avoid that. So we don't want. It'd be better to have as few people in the manufacturing process as possible. So we would have to find out who's actually grinding the cams we're buying, and where are they coming from, and those kinds of things. And again, the most important thing is going to be the heat treating and the precision. So, and I know camshafts are they're not easy to make. You know, that's a very, very precise component. So there's not a lot of, you know, you can't. It's not for everybody to do. Just because you can grind one doesn't mean you should. Yeah, and again, like I said before, this is going to sound repetitive to the audience. You're going to hear this a lot, but you want to sit at the table with the best possible odds. I mean, you don't want to come out there like, oh well, you know, this part was like half the price. What could be different? Like, well, a lot, and maybe not at first glance, but once you start getting into stuff, those differences are gonna come out. And we don't want to find out too late that, you know, we have a bad combination somewhere, and now start all over again. It's too expensive to make mistakes. So that's the deal. We can't. I mean, it'd be fun to like cowboy it and just like blow up another one, but we just don't have the money. Buy T-shirts.
Buy merch. Buy some merch, guys. Help me out. Help us out here. Well, that brings me to my next question. So we're doing the short block. We're doing the heads. We're doing an EFI. What are we doing? What do you recommend as far as
Well, I want to see a Motec system.
Motec system?
Yeah, the Motec plug and play, I think, is the ideal system for this setup for a number of reasons. One, Motec's the top dog in EFI.
Okay.
You know, they make the systems for like really high-end builds for expensive race cars. They've been around forever. They're really great. The plug-and-play system, you can keep the original dash and gauges. All the firmware that runs the car will still be there.
Okay.
Where if you did a different EFI, you have to buy their dash or a different type or something else. And now, by the time you add up all these components that don't jive with the car, you know, it's almost the same money as a plug-and-play, and the EFI system isn't as good.
Right.
So why would we want that? You know, so that's why I think, you know, at first blush, it's like what, it's like $7,000 for a plug-and-play. But you can go shopping for yourselves. I mean, look at Holly Dominator, buy a screen for it. You know, like do stuff. I mean, where are we? You're real close. And I mean, no offense to Holly or anything. They're good systems.
Yeah.
But they don't have the same feature set as the Motec system will have. It just won't.
Okay.
It'll be smoother driving with the Motec. You'll have their launch control and traction control system. We'll have to obviously dial that in.
Right.
But I mean, it's seamless. You'll have. And I don't believe Holly even has anything for that. I mean, it might get flamed out there. Tell me, help. Let me know.
Drop in the comments.
Yeah.
Holly, do you make something that we can use? Are we missing something?
Maybe. Hey, whatever.
I'm excited. So just so we're clear, you are on the car. Your hands are on it. Your name's behind it.
Oh yeah. I'm here to fight. I'm here to win.
You guys heard it first. This guy here, man.
I'm excited to do the job too. I think it's a good car. You know, you're having fun out there driving it. You know, I like that you drive it out there.
Yeah.
You know, that the tires in the back seat heading to Columbus. I'm like, oh, that's really cool. And it'd be fun to be a part of a job like that. So essentially, I mean, the term I'm hearing more often these days is drag and drive. But those guys. Clearly, the guys that are over the top doing that stuff, I mean, that's really, really amazing. And I think as of us shooting this, they're doing Sick Week.
Okay.
Is that next week?
I don't know.
It's coming up. Anyway, I think it's put on by 1320 Video. Way to go, guys. It's just one of those deals where guys with full-on race cars have to drive to multiple racetracks, race, and you know they don't get to trailer or anything. They can bring a trailer as long as the race car is pulling it.
Right.
And I think that's really, really awesome. That's really cool. And this is not going to be like that intense. We want you to have more miles between rebuilds.
Yeah.
You know,
for sure.
Yeah. I mean, like, you can set it on kill, and we can, you know, turn everything up to like 11 and roach it really quick.
Yeah.
But the whole idea is to have the car reliable enough that you can drive where you want and you can race it how you want. You know, I mean, like within reason. Obviously, you can't. No trans brake launches. I mean, how many times can you do that? Eventually, something's got to go. You know.
And one of the things I like about Aleks is he's one of us, right? He's not this big shop out here looking to take your money. He dragging. You're a dragon driver.
I used to be. Yeah.
You're a street guy. So it's like, you know how it is coming from, like, you know, we work hard for our money. We don't have 30,000, 40,000 sitting in the account.
Yeah.
And you know, so we can really appreciate that. You know where guys are coming from when they come to you for work.
Absolutely.
You are that guy.
Yeah,
you know?
and that's why I'm advocating, especially on this project and for the other ones, is keep it simple. You know, if you spend the money in the right places, you're going to get really good results.
Right.
If you get lost in buying stuff that either doesn't work or is just kind of gimmicky, then you're going to burn a bunch of money, and you're still not going to be where you want to go.
Faster than me, okay? You'll be in the back. No, another tip for anybody out there listening: before you go buy parts, talk to the person that's going to be putting it together and tuning it. You don't want to just start buying parts because you see it on forums. And you're buying the wrong stuff, and then you get it, and Aleks is looking here like, bro, what are you bringing me? This part's made from Indonesia, okay? This ain't gonna work, or whatever. I don't know.
Or you bought the part and it was wrong, but you're slowly piecing together your build. Now it's 6 months and you can't return it.
Can't return it.
And you have to sell it because it's wrong or just not suitable for the job you're doing.
And now they're saying,
So, like,
now they're saying you don't know what you're talking about. 'Cause
Yeah, yeah.
The guy in the forums back in 2012
Yeah.
said,
when the product was new 10 years ago, like, oh
goodness
god.
gracious.
Yeah, so that's a thing. You definitely want to stop in and have a consultation on your build before before anything, before you spend any money, you know. And then like I said before, as long as you're spending money in the right places, you know, like fuel system's super important. You can't mess up on that with boost. So we don't know if these turbos are maxed out, right? Was that
They're definitely coming out.
They're coming out.
They're coming out.
Okay.
Yeah.
Well,
I don't know, but they're coming out.
no problem. In the future, though, what we're gonna do to find out, like how are we progressing in the system?
Yeah.
So when we have to move forward and have to spend more money on parts, we're not just, you know, we talked a little off camera about intake manifolds, and we want to try to up the revs. And the conventional wisdom out there is that everyone upgrades the manifold, probably because air isn't available at that RPM. It's going to cause vacuum, and it's pointless to rev the engine that fast. It'll lose power.
Right.
So it makes sense why they would want to have a larger plenum, different runners, whatever the exact configurations are. But that's the purpose of why you're doing that. The reason we're going to avoid that first is one, cost, and two, this is a turbo system. So the manifold is pressurized. So even if the manifold itself becomes a restriction, or at a certain point, at a certain air volume, we'll have to increase the pressure, right? Well, by increasing the pressure, we're going to be increasing temperature, okay? And there's a point of diminishing return there. So this is why we're going to instrument the turbo system beyond what's already here.
Yeah.
By having that aftermarket fuel injection system, we'll be able to monitor all that stuff.
Okay.
We're going to have pressure transducer that's going to be in the intercooler, on the pipe going into the intercooler, and on the way out. We'll be able to measure pressure loss across the intercooler.
Okay.
We'll be able to measure pressure loss across the exhaust system. So a pressure sensor that's going to be in the manifold, and a pressure sensor that's going to be in the downpipe. So we have to see what's the pressure ratio. By having a pressure ratio, assuming we have a compressor map we can work off of,
Right.
we can see, is the turbo even in the efficiency range? Is it choked? Or is it stalling because we don't have enough air volume? I mean, like, what's going on? Right now, we're like kind of at the limit of the power, and maybe swap them.
Right.
But you can see how you can get into trouble like that,
Right.
Where maybe you change turbos and you're like, it's either not as fast, or the power curve was different,
Right.
and so on. So by trying to keep tabs on all these variables, when we move forward with the project and as the car builds or whatever's going on, we'll be able to look at these like fundamental important data points.
Yep.
And at least have an understanding of what to do next. And maybe it's larger intercooler. You know what I mean? Maybe it's could be anything at this point.
Right.
But without having that data, there's no way to know. Now you're guessing at $3,000 compressors. And that's not. I mean, again, if we had money to burn, we'd buy 5 different compressors and hey, look what we got. I mean, but that might be a fun video too. But maybe next year too.
We'll see.
Well, anyway, I think that kind of wraps up our intro, right? Unless you have any other questions maybe while we're here?
I think we're good to go. I'm super excited. I'm ready to go. I don't know how long this is going to take, but you don't rush excellence. So
yeah. Well, actually, I'm glad you brought up that point, because this is true for custom projects. So you guys have to understand this. The short block we were looking at, if you bought it right now, it's 3 or 4 weeks away.
Right.
And as we go with and then the cylinder heads, depending on the backlog, I don't know. This is build season, so you could be facing maybe 6 to 8 weeks before the company can even touch it.
Right.
So and that's just the nature of the beast. I mean, there's a bunch of shelf parts, crate motor, nitrous kit, okay, you know what I mean? I guess,
right.
But not like this.
Yeah.
So it takes more time. It's not just, it's not just, the actual hours that it takes to assemble the project. It's just waiting for the components to show up.
Mm-hmm.
And it's just like that. We have to wait for the block, wait for the heads. Once all that stuff is here, then we can go through doing the cam degree, making sure that the cam timing is correct, that like everything, everything is right down the line, that takes a little time to do that. Once the engine is together and ready, then we can start installing it, and it shouldn't be too bad. And I say that cautiously because it just depends mainly on the size of turbo that you're going to get. It depends how much different in size that compressor is, and just the orientation. Can it fit where it is right now, or does any of that have to be modified or whatever? Again, I won't know until we get there.
Okay.
But once we're there, once it's done, that's cool. But that's the thing. You can't a build with shelf parts is going to be a lot quicker and easier than a custom build. But custom build is the difference maker. That's where you can start separating yourself from the shelf builds. You know what I mean? And that's I like that. I like being special or unique.
I don't know if you want to get into budget, like that could be a separate thing, or that's like, hey, we're going to make 1,000 horsepower on $5,000, or if there's an angle to that, like this, we're really going to stretch $1. If that's not an angle, then don't even bring it up.
I don't know. Well, what's the ballpark figure? It's basically 20, right? Just for the components. Well, the block. Well,
I haven't thought about that yet.
So
I get paid once a month.
Yeah. So just ballparking, spitballing numbers just from what we saw. So not including taxes, shipping.
Probably 20 grand, yeah.
Yeah. So the block was like 5,500.
Yeah.
EFI 7. Fuel system you have, but you might need injectors. That could be $1,000. Then what else? Cylinder head's almost 3,000.
Yep.
Right.
Yep.
Cams are like 2,000 or 3,000, like thereabouts approximately.
Yep.
I don't know if they're. I haven't been keeping track, but you can see how this goes.
Yeah, he didn't mention labor.
Yeah, not yet.
Free labor.
Yeah, free. I don't need to eat. That's fine. No big deal. I'm rich.
Well, I think that's it for me, man. I think we answered everything. Hope you guys got a great in-depth kind of synopsis, I guess you can call it, of what we got going on here. If you have any questions, drop them in the comments. Okay, Alex is going to be looking online, answering them. If I don't know him, I'll reach out to him and get his answer, and I'll reply to you as well. So.
Yeah, we're looking forward to the journey. This will be a lot of fun. I'm looking forward to the project.
I think we're good, buddy.
Okay, let's go.